The Divine Bitch Podcast. Wake up, be aware, and live your life fully. Welcome to a new episode of the Divine Bitch Podcast. Join us when we journey into awareness, explore what it truly means to wake up, expand your consciousness, and live your life with presence.
Hi, Anja. Here we are again.
Hello, Thomas. It's good to see you again.
Yes, likewise. In this episode, we'll talk about intuition and inner knowing.
Exactly.
And the first statement I want to start with is intuition is the language of the soul.
Mm-hmm. It's a good way to start this podcast, for sure. What is intuition and what is a soul? I usually compare intuition with the feeling you have in your gut when you know without having any proof that something is right. Unfortunately, a lot of people tell me, and I don't understand why, I feel I have the same feeling sometimes from the ego. It sometimes arises from the same location. And then I understand because, the ego is usually fueled by fear. The soul is usually filled by love. But it's not always easy to distinguish. Yeah. However, those two voices are very different in expressing themselves. So try and stick to the feeling that flows, that is not controlled, that gives words in an easy, understandable way, that makes you breathe slower, that makes you relax, and that makes you really feel where your gut relaxes. Yeah. When the stomach tries to pull together, that's usually not the intuition. Mm-hmm. That's usually a voice or a sensation coming from the ego. But when you are doing something that feels right, your stomach will feel relaxed. It will feel warm. It will be a nice place to get in touch with. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And from there on, you said they can be very similar. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Intuition and the idea of lacking something or especially wanting something to be right, to happen, to be part of you or your life.
Yeah. I experience it usually as something that I know on a very deep level. It's almost as if my intuition is driving me towards something new, not vice versa. When I have a mental process or when I really want something, when I try and get there, usually it doesn't bring me there. But when I know all will be good, when I really lean into that, I know that things start manifesting. Mm-hmm. And I often compare it to intuition is the thing that never changes. It's the very deep knowing of who you truly are. It's remembering that has always been there. So our life is very turbulent. Yeah, it's changing all the time. And we gradually develop a new state of awareness. But behind all that turbulence, there was this very silent place where I had knowledge about who I was. Mm-hmm. And to be able to connect with that and trust that is often, for me, the intuition of the soul. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Out of your own experience, Anja, what can you share about remembering and learning about your intuition?
That it's something that you can develop, for sure.
That's why I'm asking the question.
Yeah, yeah. As much as intuition has always been there, because that deep voice has existed, there was a lot of, for me at least, a lot of noise, making it very hard for me to be able to listen to my intuition. I was constantly having thoughts of why being myself was not going to lead me to where I wanted to be, or why being quiet was a much better way of dealing with life. you know. So what I gradually did was acknowledging those voices that prevented me from following my intuition. So instead of trying to push them away and focusing on my intuition so I could follow it, I developed relationships with those entities of myself who were keeping me away from my intuition. Because I always felt that I would be a good mover, a good dancer. But I was telling myself that I could not dance because my body was impaired. So that intuition told me movement, movement, movement. It's always been there ever since I was a young child. And when my body was paralyzed, it was still there. So trusting that intuition that I would be able to move again made me become a dance and movement therapist, for instance. So I dealt with all the voices that were telling me that I couldn't follow it, that I would be paralyzed for life, that I would not be able to guide others in movement because I was definitely not an expert in movement, all those things. So for me, intuition is there. Just deal with the voices that are telling you to stay away from it. And the ego is good with that. I mean, it tries to tell you to stay safe, to not grow too much. But that deep voice is something you cannot ignore. It's always there. Yeah.
One of the questions that I prepared was, what's the difference between emotions and intuition? But actually, you gave the answer already.
Okay. It's the line that goes
beyond.
Yeah.
And especially, like you said, the entities, and I don't want to, for me personally, they're not entities because they're parts of you having beliefs and carrying these emotions.
Yeah, sure.
As we talked in different episodes already, there are emotions that are actually every emotion wants to be felt.
Yeah.
It wants to move, but if you're not allowing it to move, the energy moves very often in a mental way and it becomes fear.
Yeah.
So it's very often the opposite of actually who you are. That you start to believe that is true and that you start to experience as a new truth.
Yeah. For me, I mean, intuition brings you to the one thing that never changes. And that's your full awareness, you know. Despite the the winds that surround your life, there is this one constant that has always been there, and that's the remembrance for me. Once you understand that, I have to stay in the middle of all that wind circling around me because that's where I find my true essence, that's when you really, really find your true self.
What's the role of the heart?
The heart, it's the most interesting organ for me, for sure. I'm actually struggling with my heart at the moment, so it's good that you mentioned that. The heart is an incredible mechanism to connect, not just with others and the world around you, but also with your true nature. Because what I can clearly feel, even at a time where I was paralyzed for most parts of my body, my heart was still functioning really well. It's a very powerful organ that enables you to feel when something is disaligned. It enables you to feel when something is controlled. It enables you to understand your emotions without any words. When I get stuck, what I do is I focus on the heart. And when I feel it's very open, I say, okay, at this moment I'm not experiencing pain. But there's other moments where I clearly feel constricted or tense. And that sensation for me is much stronger than, for instance, a kidney at this moment. Yeah, because it has a lot of neural connections. So it is such a wide area of very clear connections neurologically that it has a big capacity to carry feelings and to understand how to connect with those again. Yeah.
If you look, because we're talking about intuition too, and we talked about the heart, compare thoughts and maybe emotional reactions to intuition. About speed, about how you experience it. and especially how fast or how slow.
Intuition is much more stillness. I don't think there is any time element linked to it. It's almost as if you're in the center of a hurricane where there is no time and there is no space. Whereas emotions can really change fast. I mean, they get out of control. They make you excited or very sad, all very suddenly, but they change, they transform. So it's much more an earthly aspect to it than intuition. Intuition has much more universal aspect to me. It's something that has always been there. Yeah. So you can develop it by doing a lot of meditation, for instance. I hated meditation, just to be clear. Yeah. I really didn't like it. I thought it was bullshit, you know. It wasn't getting me anywhere. I experienced it as time loss. And then I said, okay, I'm going to do this for like 15 days now, every day, 20 minutes, and I'll see if I can change my mind. And by day 10, I really got addicted to it, because that for me was the way to be in that stillness. You know, and before I was always in that hurricane. I was always turning, things were changing, because I obviously like that a lot. You know, I'm a transformation specialist for companies. So that's my go-to. But hello, if you're in the middle of that hurricane where there's no change, where there's no transformation, that's where you really connect with yourself. And for me, that was a big discovery. I can no longer not meditate. Yeah, because this is where, at the end of the day, after I've spent my time with clients, after I've been helping people with their processes, after I'm speaking to corporate people dealing with emotions on the work floor, this is where I meet myself again, in that stillness. Yeah.
For me, it was the same a few years ago. Meditation was, for me, it felt impossible. I had a hard time closing my eyes for 2 minutes and not moving around in focus, like from left to right, up and down. And so I started with the application Headspace. And for me, it was a real accomplishment to have a 2-minute meditation finished without me opening my eyes, looking around, searching for anything else. And I started with 2 minutes and it went to 5 minutes. And now I have the same, like, I really appreciate this time with myself so much that I do it almost daily, and sometimes I do it twice even a day, and it's just around 10, 15, in between 20 minutes maybe.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, I really thought also that it was like a method, like, okay, you have to do this and this and this and this.
Little steps.
Yeah, there were steps, there was a process, there was something you had to do. So for me, in the beginning, it became a task.
Yeah.
But there's a Dutch book, and it's called Sitting with Yourself, in Dutch, of course.
Yeah.
And it's also about meditation. And from there on, I learned, okay, this is just you with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you said, with that universal part of yourself, of your soul, of intuition, inner knowing, whatever you want to call it, and just connecting with it without putting effort, without doing something specific.
Yeah. And nothing else is needed anymore at that point. You know, that's the good thing about it. You realize that when you actually connect to yourself, all is good. There is nothing to be changed, nothing to be taken care. It's there. So yeah, I definitely recommend it to everybody to start doing it, because once you get into it, it is such a pleasant experience that you automatically integrate it into your daily life. I think that's what you're saying as well, isn't it? Yeah.
Literally.
Literally, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Inner knowing does not explain. It simply is.
True. It's a very good phrase, because that's exactly what you feel when you get there. I often ask my clients to stop talking. That may seem a little bit arrogant, but there's so many things happening when we stop using words. Usually when people talk, there is a story about things that happened to them. And it's important for some people to express, I understand that. But it also takes us away from that inner knowing. We make up a lot of stories about ourselves. We make up a lot of stories about our feelings. But honestly, not talking for 5 minutes can sometimes bring us more than, having to explain a whole story of what happened to us. Because those words are generated from the mental body, which is only 1/4 of who we are. And so being in that stillness moments sometimes makes people realize that there's something else than what they were thinking. And what I like about it is that you have such a bodily experience when you meditate, and there's experiences flowing through, but words often interrupts that flow. So yeah, not too many words. I also think that narrative sometimes can be traumatizing in itself. When we talk about something that really hurt us, we are hurt again. We are traumatized again because the bodily sensations are not necessarily enjoyable. And going to that stillness and not talking and just breathing and closing eyes is what I do regularly to make sure that people also feel what's happening when they do that. Yeah.
In the previous episode, we talked about fear. Why do you, or how do you see the fact that so many people are scared of silence? Of being with themselves, of not having music or anything else in the background, actually being afraid of meditating, because actually that's the other side.
I often think it comes from the pain body. When there's a lot of pain across our different bodies, it's not necessarily great to stay with that. I often think that coping with that pain is a way to deal with that. And then we start to run around. Then we start to overthink. It's at that moment that we start to, do a lot of movement or excessive movement at times. And I understand it because the speed of our society also requires us to move and to be active and so on. But the reality is that when we do that all the time, it means that we're running away from something. And that's the pain body. So that's the hurting soul, I would say, because our souls get hurt for sure. But then gradually growing through that pain is a way to connect with yourself again. And then understanding that, okay, I can be hurt as a soul and still stay with me. There's ways to deal with that as well. But obviously when society promotes movement and suppression of feelings and so on, it's easy to get caught in that process. I mean, let's face it, when everybody is doing it, why not follow that same thing again? It's mirroring behavior again.
And choosing for the superficial, faster paced way of living compared to how I experience it myself. Living your truth, connected with your intuition, with your inner wisdom, it's a slower and especially a deeper way, more profound way of living.
Yeah, and what I experienced myself was that it goes automatically. I used to be a really fast runner and talker when I was a child. It was like tack, 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 constantly. Yeah, so there was a lot of control in my voice, staccato, tack, 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 tack. And I remember a lot of teachers telling me that, slow down, but I couldn't. I was running away from who I really was because I was not willing to look at what was there. And nobody was helping me to do it as well. I mean, I think had I had a person telling me, okay, just breathe, and I probably would have learned sooner. But, my life was so fast. I did everything really fast, and I'm really glad that I'm still here because, the way I was driving, the way I was walking, the way I was running, the way I was doing sports, there was no rhythm or no pace other than really fast. Yeah. But it goes gradually. I mean, I could not speak the way I was speaking before today. I would be exhausted after 10 minutes for sure. And sometimes people also tell me, you have such a relaxing voice. I meditate listening to your voice. And it surprises me because my voice was really, really very different before. But I never did any voice training. It was my body who gradually slowed down. So my voice that gradually got lower as well. Yeah. So that happens automatically when you deal with pain.
When you connect more with yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's an experience that I had myself, that it's the deepening of the voice and the slowing down of not only talking, but actually, like I said before, it's the deeper and more profound way of connection with yourself that allows you to move more effortless, more natural.
Yeah. Instead of doing, you are being. That's basically it. You don't necessarily have to move around all the time or talk all the time, because you realize that, being in that silent moment is okay. But if you are hurting a lot, it doesn't feel like that. You just don't want to go there.
It's too uncomfortable.
It's very uncomfortable, yeah. And that's why a lot of people come into the practice and they start talking, because they are uncomfortable coming to a therapist and they feel that I have to somehow make up for that stress. And I usually tell them, I am here for you, you're not here for me. So, because sometimes people say, I have written down what I wanted to say, or I'm a bit anxious because I'm not sure what to say. So, and that's again, fear helps to really go faster. It's the ideal emotion to make sure that you start talking, that you move fast, and so on. Yeah.
That's one of the reasons when I work with my clients that enter in that way, I say, I'm not interested in that story.
Yeah.
And I use questions like, tell me something you never told before.
Yeah.
Or how are you really doing at this time? What do you really feel?
That's an excellent question.
To literally slow down and help them to connect with themselves instead of, like you said, keeping in the fast pace, in the preparation they prepared. What are they going to say? How are they going to pronounce this? Like you said, they may be written down things, or they have a lot of documents of different medical procedures or researches that happened.
Yeah.
So they're very prepared. And I remember myself being very prepared for life too. Always preparing, like you said, busy in the mind. Okay, what's coming next? How do I think they will? What do they expect of me? How do I want to show up? And
also as a therapist, it's important for yourself because we are connected energetically. So when somebody starts talking really fast, chances are that you are surfing on that energy. So slowing down the client also helps you, the therapist, to be connected with yourself, because in your being, you are helping the client. It's when you start doing that you're no longer helping the client, but you surf on the energy that they came into your cabinet with. So for sure.
And if this is something that you're interested in as a listener, we have an episode. We'll be talking about working with clients, but this one is upcoming later.
Yeah, sure.
So make sure to keep on listening. The last question that I have for you, Anja, in this episode is actually, I asked you about the role of the heart. And now the last one is, what's the role of the gut?
There's a lot of emotions passing through the gut. The gut is the processor, I would say.
Digestion.
The digester. It takes in, transforms, and if everything happens well, it exits as well. So it's that magical place where you turn rubbish into gold, basically. So it's important to take good care of your gut because it's such an emotional area. And if your gut health is not okay, you get stuck into your emotions. Because there's also a biochemical process linked to emotional processes, obviously, and that goes through the gut. I mean, there's a lot of experts in that area nowadays. I think there's Charlotte Noor, who works also with the gut. Because obviously, you that's one of the areas where you feel next to the heart. It's the second area where you actually feel a lot. So take good care of it and watch what you eat, watch what you drink. It's important as well, because you want it to function optimally to deal with your emotions in the best way possible. Yeah.
Like you said, it's the processor or part of the process. And I always looked at the gut like, okay, it's functional, it's the food processing.
There's a lot more.
Because we take in food and water and or drinks and it processes them. And like you said, the result is actually it's gold. It's the things a lot of people think, oh, we cannot use, but there's a reason why it has to leave our body. We'll say it in that way. But many people ask me, because I have had a lot of problems with my gut in the past, how did you get rid of that? And I always tell people like, okay, it's not, I have been doing diets, I've been eating gluten-free, lactose-free, being so strict with my food, and actually, if I'm very honest, it made my gut problems worse. Being in a very strict way with myself, being actually very on point,
controlling on the food,
again. And now for me it's also getting more and more clear out of my own experience that it's me processing when I allow myself to process instead of holding on again.
And also being conscious of what you're eating. What does your body do when you eat this, instead of what does science tell you what to do? Because our bodies are such beautiful instruments, but they're also very unique. So it's about, getting from science what is good for your own body, and then listening to that. I think I told a story once, but I used to drink soda and eat chocolate in the morning. And now if I do that, I get sick.
I can imagine.
So now if I eat vegetables, I feel complete. Before, if I ate vegetables, it was as if I had eaten nothing. I needed, to have greasy stuff too. So that changes over time, but listen to it. And when you eat, also feel what happens in your body. And it's a very good way of dealing with that. But it's imagine all those emotions going through there. So imagine if you hold a lot of anger, poor gut. If you try and hold in that anger, because that gut is dealing with that on a daily basis.
It's trying to process it. Trying.
Exactly. And it helps you to exit, all the biochemicals that are created when you're actually dealing with trauma release, for instance. Thank you for exiting those not so healthy biochemicals from my body.
So the gut is the processor of not only the physicals, like food, but especially also the energetic part of the emotions that we experience.
Exactly, and that's why your gut is so healthy today, I think. You've worked so much on those areas, on the emotional processing of things that happened before, that your gut is now telling you, I'm good. Now you can enjoy that.
And when I experience my gut feeling tensed or whatever, I notice that, okay, what am I not processing, or where am I holding on to something, and am I not allowing it to flow, to be digested?
Usually before I go to sleep, I always put both hands on the gut area, and I just, for 10 minutes, I just listen to it, and then I feel a lot of movement still. So it's a small daily ritual that I do now. And also thanking my gut, because my God, it has been dealing with a lot of things that I was holding on to in the past. Just being thankful for, being fully functional still today. Because it's worked really hard.
One more thing. Is there something you want to tell the listeners more about intuition, inner knowing, and maybe related to the book?
I think in the book I definitely speak about meditation, and I have integrated specific exercises to make sure that you understand what is my true inner voice, apart from all the small voices of the sub-identities and so on. So practice. I think meditation is absolutely vital, if not necessary, to connect with yourself again. So start doing those daily practices. You don't have to do 20 minutes a day right away. That's not necessary. But start creating some discipline to do some daily exercises in that area. It will really bring a lot. I mean, and even if you are resistant to it, know that the best meditators today, they all experience that resistance. Yeah. Because our life was built on not necessarily the inside, but on the outside. But still do it, yeah. And you have some good exercises in the book. Yeah.
Perfect. A last sentence for this episode is, to trust intuition is to trust life.
What happens on the inside happens on the outside, for sure. So here, I would say. It's a good moment to close off the podcast with that, I think.
Perfect. Thank you, Anja.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you for joining us on the path of awareness. Pay attention, open up, and remind yourself that awareness is not a destination. It's a way of life. See you in the next episode.